Welcome back to our channel, wonderful viewers. We have an incredibly intense storyline to unpack today, so grab your favorite warm beverage and let us explore the shadows gathering around our most beloved characters. For decades, we have watched Sonny navigate the incredibly treacherous and labyrinthine underworld of Port Charles, witnessing him face down rival mobsters, corrupt politicians, and international criminals with a steely resolve that has become his trademark. As longtime viewers who have grown older alongside these characters, we have developed a finely tuned sixth sense for when Sonny is truly backed into a corner. Right now, all the familiar alarm bells are ringing with a deafening urgency. The stakes have rarely felt this astronomically high, and the danger has rarely felt this deeply personal. We are currently witnessing a storyline that threatens to tear the very fabric of the Corinthos family apart, centered entirely around the terrifying, unyielding threat posed by the elusive and vengeful Sidwell. Sidwell is certainly not just another run-of-the-mill antagonist passing through our screens. He is a highly calculated, ruthlessly intelligent adversary who holds grudges with a terrifying, almost suffocating intensity. The root of this current explosive and deeply unsettling conflict lies in the daring, heart-pounding espionage carried out by none other than Lucas Jones. Watching Lucas, a character who has so often represented the pure, untarnished moral center of his otherwise turbulent family, infiltrate Sidwell's highly secure safe at Windermere was a brilliant masterclass in daytime television suspense. We all sat on the edge of our seats as he managed to secure those damning, highly sensitive photographs and negatives, the very evidence that explicitly linked Sonny and our beloved Mayor Laura to the tragic, hidden body of Professor Dalton. When Lucas finally delivered that stolen incendiary evidence to Sonny at the dimly lit coffee warehouse, the atmospheric tension was absolutely palpable through the screen. We watched with bated breath as Sonny, acting with his characteristic, uncompromising, decisive action, took those blackmail photos and negatives and burned them into absolute nothingness. In that singular, fiery moment, the immense physical leverage that Sidwell had so cruelly held over Sonny and Laura was reduced to mere ash floating in the air. But as any seasoned and observant fan of General Hospital knows deep in their bones, destroying the physical evidence does not magically destroy the enemy. It merely changes the complex rules of engagement. Sonny confidently insisted that without a physical body to point to, there could be no proven crime. But Lucas wisely and anxiously warned that this temporary reprieve was not true freedom. This deeply compelling storyline beautifully and poignantly highlights the starkly contrasting life philosophies of Sonny and Laura. When faced with the undeniable reality of Sidwell's continued existence, Sonny's immediate, deeply ingrained instinct was to eliminate the deadly threat permanently to kill Sidwell and be done with the nightmare once and for all. But Laura, ever the steadfast, unwavering moral compass of Port Charles and a woman who has spent her life fighting for justice, absolutely refused to allow a cold-blooded murder to stain her conscience or her city. She passionately insisted on taking Sidwell down through proper, rigorous legal channels. This profound clash of fundamental ideologies led to the incredibly fateful and dangerous decision to set an elaborate police trap for Sidwell, using Lucas's access to the Windermere safe as the ultimate, irresistible bait. The plan was undeniably brilliant in its initial conception, to catch Sidwell red-handed in the act of committing another undeniable crime. And for a fleeting, desperately hopeful moment, it seemed to work perfectly when Sidwell was actually apprehended by the authorities. But the collective sigh of relief from viewers was violently and abruptly ripped away when we learned that Sidwell had somehow managed to orchestrate a shocking escape from police custody. Now, we are left grappling with a truly terrifying and unpredictable reality. Sidwell is no longer just a manipulative blackmailer holding secrets over their heads. He is a deeply humiliated, violently enraged fugitive with absolutely nothing left to lose and a massive bloody score to settle. A cornered animal is always the most dangerous creature in the wild, and Sidwell is currently prowling the shadowy corners of Port Charles with nothing but cold-blooded murder on his mind. To truly understand the bottomless depth of Sidwell's wrath, we must look back at the tragic, violent history involving Marco. Marco was fiercely, almost obsessively determined to take down Sonny and Natalia, a dark vendetta that ultimately and tragically cost him his own life. Although we as viewers know the nuanced truth that it was actually the ruthless WSB operative Cullum who eliminated Marco Sidwell's overwhelming grief and blinding rage, have seemingly erased all logic and reason from his mind. In Sidwell's grieving eyes, Sonny is the ultimate architect of his profound misery. The devastating loss of Marco has fueled a blood-soaked, unquenchable desire for vengeance within Sidwell that simply cannot be extinguished by anything less than Sonny's complete and utter demise. He wants Sonny to pay the ultimate price for the pain he has endured. As devoted viewers who have watched this complex family grow, love, fiercely fight, and suffer for decades, our hearts ache with profound anxiety for the safety of Sonny's loved ones. Sidwell is exactly the kind of soulless monster who would strategically target a man's family to inflict the maximum amount of psychological and emotional pain before delivering the final blow. We must seriously consider the terrifying vulnerability of those closest to Sonny right now. Christina is already buckling under the immense, crushing guilt of her involvement in Rick Lansing's kidnapping and is desperately trying to flee the city. Molly is facing a devastating, life-altering health crisis and the shattering, foundational betrayal of her family's darkest secrets. Carly is recklessly investigating the dangerous grounds of Spoon Island, putting herself directly in the lethal crosshairs of the WSB and potentially Sidwell's lurking operatives. The entire Corinthos family is deeply fractured and distracted, making them incredibly, tragically susceptible to a coordinated attack. This terrifying vulnerability brings us to the most shocking, thrilling, and emotionally devastating rumor currently circulating among the fan base. The incredibly strong possibility that Sonny is preparing to fake his own death. When I first considered this monumental prospect, a genuine chill ran down my spine. We have certainly seen characters fake their deaths before it is a time-honored, beloved tradition in the rich history of daytime television, but for a titan like Sonny to take such a drastic, unthinkable step speaks volumes about the sheer, unprecedented magnitude of the threat that Sidwell poses. Sonny has undoubtedly realized that as long as he is alive, breathing, and visible in Port Charles, his entire family is a walking target. The only conceivable way to truly protect them from Sidwell's wrath is to completely erase himself from the board and become a ghost. From a purely tactical and strategic standpoint, this clandestine move is nothing short of absolute brilliance. By meticulously staging his own demise and allowing Sidwell to genuinely believe he has won the war, that he has successfully assassinated the great, untouchable Sonny. Sonny completely strips Sidwell of his paranoia and necessary caution. Sidwell will inevitably lower his guard, arrogantly reveling in his dark, bloody victory over his greatest rival. This manufactured false sense of security will ultimately be Sidwell's catastrophic undoing. Sonny, operating entirely and silently in the unseen shadows of Port Charles, will hold the ultimate, undeniable advantage. He will be able to track Sidwell's every movement, systematically dismantle his criminal network piece by piece, and strike with lethal precision when Sidwell is at his most vulnerable and unsuspecting. It is a highly dangerous, incredibly high-stakes game of chess, and Sonny is bravely sacrificing his own life symbolically, at least to finally checkmate his deadly opponent. But oh, the profound emotional devastation this brilliant tactical move will inevitably wreak upon the unsuspecting citizens of Port Charles. Imagine the truly heart-wrenching, tear-jerking scenes that await us in the coming weeks. We may very well witness a catastrophic, highly publicized medical crisis at General Hospital, a meticulously staged event designed to convincingly show the world, and most importantly Sidwell, that Sonny has tragically perished. The raw, unfiltered grief of his children, Dante's stoic heartbreak, Michael's furious sorrow, Christina's devastating collapse will be absolutely agonizing for us to watch. Even those who have been bitterly at odds with him recently, like Carly, will be profoundly, earth-shatteringly shaken by the sudden loss. As viewers, we will be in on the grand secret, but knowing the truth will not lessen the profound emotional impact of watching our beloved characters mourn the complicated patriarch of the Corinthos family. We will undoubtedly cry right alongside them, remembering all the miraculous times Sonny has cheated death in the past, only to realize that this time he must force the entire world to believe he finally lost the battle. We must also deeply reflect on the immense, crushing psychological burden this grand deception will place on Sonny himself. To be forced to watch his beloved family grieve from afar, completely unable to step forward to comfort them, unable to wipe away their bitter tears or hold them in his arms, will be a form of psychological torture unlike any he has ever endured in his long traumatic life. Sonny's entire identity, his very reason for breathing, is built around being the ultimate protector, the undeniable, reassuring presence at the head of the family table. To willingly erase himself, to step voluntarily into the cold, lonely, isolating void of non-existence, requires a level of profound sacrifice that is both deeply heroic and unspeakably tragic. It demonstrates the profound, unconditional, limitless love he has for his family, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is willing to lose absolutely everything, even his own name and his place in the world, to ensure their continued survival. As we brace ourselves for the upcoming, highly anticipated episodes, the dramatic tension is becoming almost unbearable. Every dark shadow in the alleys of Port Charles could potentially be hiding one of Sidwell's lethal assassins. Every ringing phone could bring the devastating news of a fatal ambush. We will be watching every single scene with bated breath, meticulously analyzing every nuanced interaction for hidden clues about exactly how Sonny will execute this incredibly complex grand illusion. We have to ask ourselves, will he dare to confide in anyone? Perhaps Brick, his most fiercely loyal confidant and brilliant surveillance expert, will be absolutely instrumental in meticulously staging the fake death and flawlessly maintaining the elaborate cover-up. Or perhaps Sonny will choose to walk this incredibly dark, lonely path entirely by himself, terrified of putting anyone else at risk and trusting absolutely no one with the explosive secret of his survival.